Hello and welcome to the Quackcast, the DD Quackcast. I'm Ozone Ocean and with me is Taunton Baines.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh my god, I remembered to introduce you guys. That's amazing.
Yay.
Alright, so this week, Mouse is introducing himself, so that's nice. Okay, so yeah, this week we're talking about pop culture. That's our subject for today, and the way pop culture is always like advancing and changing and leaving stuff behind, like a fast-moving glacier. And those little bits that you enjoy about pop culture are, those little weird rocks that get, spat out by massive glaciers. So that's our subject. But first, we have to introduce the theme music. That was our theme music. Thank you for that, Gummels. All right, so pop culture and the way it inexorably moves and discards and keeps on moving, and it chews us up and spits us out. So it's a fascinating thing, pop culture. What you love today, what is massively popular that everyone loves, tomorrow becomes a niche, rare thing very, very quickly. And this just constantly happens. But before we do that, the theme... we've already had the theme music. We're having Quackcast telling us about something. Is it Quackcast telling us about something, or is it me? I'm not sure.
I'll have to listen to the review first and find out. I'll let you know.
All right, Snake in the Office. It's me. Damn it. Okay, I'm going to be telling you about Snake in the Office.
Which I looked at a little bit of that, and it looks... I mean, I don't know a lot about manga or anything. I've looked at plenty, just perusing it. It looks just as good as anything you'd see in the store, to my eye.
Hello, I'm Ozone Ocean, and my feature for the week was Snake in the Office. This is the story of a young lady starting a new job in the big city, but there's a twist. And quite a big one, it turns out. Her huge, twisty, twirly, sinuous, long, scaly, gigantic, powerful snake tail, because Cotton is a naga. Naga are a type of half snake, half human creature. Think of mermaids, except they live on land. And have a snake tail instead of a fish tail. After an experience with a nasty interdimensional war, she managed to make her way to the safety and sanity of our world. What better way to start her new life than working in an office, doing admin? The art style is manga. It's all black and white, nicely honed, clean, and well practiced. The story is a slice of life comedy with a touch of romance and cheeky sexiness. So I hope you enjoy your read through the comic that is called A Snake in the Office. This is a comic by the authorist, and it's rated T for teen. Read it. And that was the featured comic that I featured, and it was
Snakes on a Plane. Oh no, Snakes in the Office.
Snake in the Office. Now, when you read that title, I thought that's going to be like some evil person who betrays everyone.
Me too.
Yeah.
But maybe the hot author intended that impression, but it's not that at all. No. Okay, so now we're introducing Gummels' music, and this week Gummels has provided us with a theme. He's had a bit of a break for a while and on and off because he's been ill and had ill people in the house and all that kind of stuff. So, but he provided us a theme this week, and it was the theme to The Scourge of 9 Point, which was a comic I featured a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, The Scourge of 9 Point. It's a mournful yet extremely respectful funerary sounding tune. It ramps up quickly into a furiously paced call to action and a desperate race against time. So take it away, Gamos, with theme to Scourge at 9 point. Scourge at 9 points, which is a comic by Bones McKay. So, yeah, hopefully you will check that comic out and see if it matches up to the theme that Gomos came up with. Alright, so now we're going to be chatting about pop culture. Everybody talk about pop culture. Oh, no, that was a song from a long time ago. I can't even remember the proper lyrics. Okay, so yeah, pop culture. What is pop culture? Pop culture is the whatever commercial disposable, I think that's the kind of term people often use. Whatever like current massively popular piece of culture that everybody's into at the same time. You know, like popular sitcoms, popular music, popular films, you know, say the Marvel movies, great example. Mm-hmm. But it's just anything that is culture.
Mm-hmm. But widespread, mainstream and widespread, basically.
There you go. That's popular culture. Mm-hmm. It's massively disseminated everywhere. And the thing I want to talk about it is the fact, not that it exists, because we all know pop culture exists. I mean, we are producing our own version of like culture when we make our comics, but it's not really pop culture because not everybody's into it. It's not the widespread, but it's a niche culture. But we are influenced by popular culture, and that helps us create. But the thing I wanted to talk about was, say, this came to me when I was at a comic convention last week, doing cosplay. But occasionally I want to like check out the booths and see what's interesting and see if there's anything that I want to get. And there's almost nothing there that I'm into because I'm not into Superman or Batman or any of that kind of stuff that is always like interesting to people. I'm in like the stuff that I want is my like Ghost in the Shell or Tank Girl or stuff like that I was really into. And that stuff was massively popular back in the 90s. And, you know, even in the early 2000s, Ghost in the Shell had a bit of a revival with the series standalone complex. But still, there's almost like there was basically nothing there for that kind of stuff. And I realized that even though something is like massively popular and everyone's into it and it's hugely disseminated, that's only temporary because pop culture is a machine that has to keep like being fed and producing stuff. and discarding the old stuff. It keeps on having to do that because it's massively tied to a kind of a capitalist process. It really is like capitalism embodied in its purest form. It's just about making money. Like as consumers of pop culture, we think, oh yeah, we love this stuff and we're fans and we're into it. But the only reason it exists is to make money. And you can't make as much money out of stuff that's like old. You have to keep on reviving and refreshing. Sure, like Baines was talking to us about it, like in our little Patreon video cast about how like Disney revives older stuff, but they're not like you can make limited funds out of that kind of thing. But it's diminishing returns.
It still is capitalism. It's still business. It's still like it's the creation of scarcity, like that principle of creating scarcity. So they would quote unquote, lock up these movies and videos in their vault, and then every few years they'd release, a Pinocchio or a Beauty and the Beast or whatever classic.
Yeah. Just
for a limited time, so you have that sort of scarcity thing. So still a business model that I think worked really well for them. It really appealed to people's instincts, to grab a limited time offer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I could. Sorry. Go on.
Currently, they're doing it with their Disney Plus service. They have these things on there, but it's really a way of selling Disney Plus as a service. So you have the they re-released their like Snow White and Seven Dwarfs and Toy Story or whatever else, but then they're not really, the thing isn't like re-releasing that. The real point of that is to market Disney Plus and the newer shows that are coming through, so that allows them to piggyback the new stuff by using the old stuff to get people in. Anyway, sorry, Tant.
Yeah, I was just going to say that pop culture is, as you said, part and parcel of making money, in the sense that the trends are created a little bit, not exactly artificially, but for example, when I was growing up, late 80s, very early 90s, there was like one of the big things among kids was anime that had mecha, like big mecha and like composite, like teams of kids.
Oh yeah, Voltron and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like Voltron, but it wasn't just Voltron, and it was at least 5 IPs that had this exact same premise, and that was simply because the first one was a huge hit. So another like 10 popped up, and from those 10, these other 4 or 5 also had something that people liked. So you get whole trends. Like we are only producing stories with mecha now. Like that's all. Like Transformers and Voltron, as you said, and also the teams with the kids like Silverhawks or not Lone Star. What was the other one? Was I think, wasn't it the Sky Sheriffs, the Star Sheriffs? I don't remember well, but Saturday morning TV shows had all these like team ups of
Galaxy
kids
Rangers. That was a good one.
Yes, and with the token girl and the leader guy and the
token
command that was always against the leader guy, and they were always butting heads.
Oh yeah, the teams, that was a popular thing, and I like the 1970s version, late 70s was
Power Rangers. Remember?
Oh, Power Rangers, yeah, that was 90s. Late 70s version was Battle of the Planets or G-Force, I think G-Force.
Oh yeah, G-Force, I remember that. Or
Gatchaman.
Yes, that's
the actual name.
Yeah, it was huge, and they all basically worked off each other, copied each other for like 5 years, 6 years. and then something else came along, like for example Yu-Gi-Oh, and then everything was card games and battles with cards or with little animals
my
like
God.
Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, the Pokemon stuff
Mm.
is directly related to the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. So they're trying to market a
Mhm.
game to children. So
Yeah.
Pokemon and Digimon, that's another one. So they're all related.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. And like now the current thing is the Isekai, which is another world being transported to another world or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's been going on for years now. So yeah, that's the current popular thing. And when that's over, there'll be no more Isekai, and we'll be on to something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And you will still have a fondness for these things, and you will not be able to find them as easily. I mean, you will
Yes,
find them, but they will be niche now. They will not be
that's it.
mainstream.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I had always been a fan of the Isekai stuff because of course I was a fan of say Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, stuff like this.
Yeah.
So this is Lion Witch in the Wardrobe was back I don't know, he wrote that in the 30s or something, C.S. Lewis. And that was a particular style of story that was like everyone was writing those, like in England and like a lot of the world.
Technically, Harry Potter is one of those as well because they
Yeah.
go through portal and
Yeah, into another world. But say that was a fashion that really was super popular in the early, like 20th century. So it's always been around, and it pops up occasionally. But when the isekai thing really took off in anime, I was thinking with dread, but also excitement because I love the concept, but I knew, oh my god, it's going to reach a point where they're just going to be bombarding us with crap, and then it's going to end and you won't be able to find it anymore. So I've got to enjoy this while I can.
yeah.
I do the trajectory of it.
The only ray of hope in all of this is that you do have resurgences. Like something is reinvented or reimagined or rediscovered. Like, for example, samurai stuff was very popular again, like 15, 20 years ago. Like Rurouni Kenshin and Samurai Champloo and Samurai, like Black Samurai, I think. The African one, and
Oh yeah, Afro Samurai and
yeah, and
Bleach was another one that had
Bleach as well, which is basically magic samurai, really. And there was also Samurai Jack, and then it tapered off a little bit. But now we have like a sort of renaissance happening again with Samurai Blue Eyes and a couple more that I don't remember right now. So you do have like small, but they are very short-lived, but they tend to be brilliant because they touch upon something that is already passé, and they make awesome, and you know it's bound to be good, and then they fade again. So
yes, because there's no popular trend for them to glom onto. So yeah, they're off out the wayside because the main trend is the thing that everybody is going for. So unfortunately, that's just how it is. I think the beginning of the current popular trend of isekai was Sword Art Online. So it had always been isekai before it, Another World stories. Like Sword Art Online didn't do anything original, but that was so massively popular that everybody started doing isekai stuff, and it wasn't just isekai, it was isekai in a game world. So you didn't just get transported to another world, it was another world based on a game, or you were trapped in a game, or game. So now every single isekai has game logic to it, which is really stupid,
Mm.
but it does. Even when it's not about a game world, it's a game world. You know, killing monsters gives you points, and just stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard there's a mount. I have no interest in that personally, the game world
Mm.
thing anyway. But I've heard that there's a glute of that stuff, independent authors writing these books, and there's like stats and points, and it's so funny to like. I'm like that has no appeal to me at all. To read a book like that, so
Yeah, me neither.
It's taken over fantasy, so no longer is there any proper fantasy logic or like, oh, there's a reason why these creatures live here. These, you know, they're the predators and that's what they do, and then they hunt down. No, they're just generated automatically for us to kill and get money. Fantasy worlds don't work that way.
But that's catering to what's popular. Obviously, it's like people are gobbling that stuff up, right? So that's why.
Yeah.
Yes, but it has diminishing returns, and people will get sick of it very quickly.
Yeah.
It was novel and interesting, but now it's not.
Yeah, it's when you drive a trope into the ground to the point that it becomes like you can only use it as a subversion or as a. You have to reinvent the trope if you want to use it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know we've talked before in years past, and oh man, I'm trying to remember the name of the documentary. But there's a documentary about the rise and fall of the slasher movie. That might be the title of it. With when Halloween came out in 1978 or whatever, super popular, and like suddenly there was Friday the 13th right after that, and then all these rip-offs. So this documentary kind of traces the rise and then the fall. And you see clips of the movies and they just look worse and worse. It's very funny, and the whole thing is by the early 80s it had run dry, or the maybe Friday the 13th held on the longest.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, they came in 84. That's a little bit different than Nightmare on Elm Street, but
it is, but it's using that as its basis.
Yeah, it's like it definitely has more of the magic thing going
on. Or alien invasion movies, where all the raids once upon a time,
right.
and now you can never like. I don't think they have made one in a while.
They did make another Independence Day. It seems like you hear about these things, these big sequels, and then I don't watch any of them personally, and then they're just kind of gone. They come out and then you never hear about it again.
Yeah.
I would love to see a film about space travel that did not involve something based on like bloody Alien, you know? So Alien came out, what was it, late 70s?
Yeah.
What was that? The Ridley Scott film. Beautiful art by a guy, like a massive piece of...
Hey, John Geiger!
Yeah. Incredible piece of original stuff. Then we have Aliens by who's like the Titanic director. Can't remember his name.
Kirk Cameron.
Kirk Cameron. Yes. So you've got Aliens, but so that's in their actual like whatever. That's Aliens. But every other single space movie follows that bloody trope now. Not every single one, but so many. Like if you see, this movie's about a spaceship and a crew on a spaceship, and you think, it's a bloody murder mystery, or it's about something goes wrong and someone's killing everyone. Like they're all doing that. It's never like, oh yes, the spirit of adventure, and we're going to travel to a new world, and interesting things are going to happen. No, it's just everyone's dying because some crazy person has gone mad and killing everyone, just following that Aliens thing. So that really annoys me when people just take that kind of trope and just keep on like reproducing it like anytime. Anyway, that's my rant on that.
I think though, I mean, a bit of like I think I would bet I don't have any evidence for it, but or at least conclusive evidence. Um, but I think that a lot of this blame should go to the actual producing companies. I mean, because they will not fund something that does not have this trope that has previously made money, so we're only doing that. And if you want to make a movie, you better have someone killing other people if you want the space.
Right.
That's
I,
like a studio intervention, like corporate intervention in the artistic process.
oh yeah, I think you're right, but I think because it is pop culture, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
it's tied into that the commercialism. Yes, we have to make money. We have to do stuff that people will recognize, and it was going to be a guaranteed hit. But it's also the fact that these people have watched Alien and they've enjoyed it. And when they think of it, when they think of, oh yeah, we want to do a film about sci-fi, that's automatically what they think about. So there's that kind of stuff. So pop culture is not only like a machine, like top-down driven piece of machinery, like these studios and these like creative publishing companies telling people what to do. It's also a bottom up as
Mm-hmm.
well. So there's people going, yeah, we enjoyed this. We want to produce more of it, or we're really into this and we want to do our version of it, or we watch this as kids and now we are into this. This is what we're influenced by. So it's all a mixture. So when I, like in the
Oh
beginning,
yeah.
I'm saying it's capitalism and it's like it's driven and it's all this. I'm not trying to like make a conspiracy and saying it's all like designed
No,
to be a certain
it's
way. It's organic.
it's not a conspiracy. Yeah, it's not. It's how things work, and I do believe that out of the two forces, so to speak, the one that is more culpable about, getting cookie cutter movies until they stop making money
Yeah.
is that studios enforce it a lot. Because uh, if the studio introduces many new ideas, some are going to catch and become the new mainstream. It's part
Oh
of the
yeah.
natural order of things. Like for example, there was a time when nobody knew of Harry Potter, but it was introduced and it took, and then it reigned for like 10 years or something. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. True.
Well, yeah.
Uh,
The Marvel
yeah,
movies are another example.
exactly.
Dominated all pop culture
Mhm.
for ages, and now that's
Yeah.
dying off because people have gotten
Uh,
a bit too much of it and they've gotten too arrogant.
and it's like the more they feel safe that this is a cash cow, the less effort they put into it. So you get lesser quality movies as you go on. So that also kills the trope. That it goes together like hand in hand. It's like, yeah, throw some spandex on the screen and it's gonna work and make money. Which is basically the conundrum that Disney is in right now, because they remade all the classics and they thought that that was enough, and it clearly isn't. So,
Yes. Yes, they're running into some issues.
mhm,
As they should. Pop
as they
culture,
should.
yes, is a beast that will never be satiated, whatever that
Yeah.
word is.
And there seems to
It's
be a tendency sometimes. I don't know if I'm right about this. I'll just start talking. But like for corporate culture to like dictate what's going to be popular rather than seeing what's popular and kind of capitalizing on it. I mean,
Yeah.
you've already kind of said this already, I guess. But like looking at the existing story templates and the existing this and that, and just kind of doing a version of that, but also like kind of force feeding
yeah, I agree.
certain things,
That
even if they're
happens.
not popular and like people are not liking it en masse. It's like, and then like forcing it. I don't know. That seems kind of different than things used to be somehow.
There's That is true. Okay, so where people will could make the argument of saying, "Oh, you're just old," and of course they've always done this, and you're not into the new things. But okay, what people have to realize is that distribution has massively changed. So in the old days, it was films on the cinema where everyone would go to see it, and you had TV channels. There weren't many TV channels back in the day. You had limited channels. You had limited radio stations where things could be played.
Right.
There were
So it's like, even like back then, you get what you get kind of thing, and like this is what you're getting, and that's it. There's no internet. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of things had to be really exceptional in order to be able to appear on those forums, because there were limited ways of having them funnel to you. So they had to be really, really exceptional to be there. Now these days you have the internet has massively spread stuff out. There's a million different streaming channels that are popular.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't tied to anyone. Like back in the day, you only had your TV channels that were available to you personally. But now we can watch movies for whatever globally around the world as soon as they come out on the internet. And so these companies, where am I going with this? I don't know. There's the massive different ways of having this media available to you means that the marketing has to be very, very different from what it used to be. Massively different. Everything's changed. Things are completely different. That's where I'm sort of going.
It's so much cheaper and so much easier for anyone to make a movie. Obviously, anyone can write a book and distribute it, can make comics and distribute them, can even make movies or shows on their own and distribute them on the internet, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The problem becomes standing out because there's so much stuff.
Yes, standing out is really hard, and being able to massively market these things and get these things to people's eyes, because there's so much stuff out there, is a challenge. And that is where these big marketing companies or big publishing companies win, because they have more resources than Joe Blogs, who who's producing their little bit of pop culture. Who's going to win? It's Disney's going to win all the time, because they can afford to advertise on Google and everything else and get the stuff in front of your eyes and direct you towards their stuff.
And that's why it's incredible that they are losing money as they are right now, because the thing is that it's not, I could totally see this working, and Disney basically, being the reign supreme entity in entertainment, but they are losing that position, even though they have all these resources, because they are actively blowing up every single IP that they have acquired. It's incredible to watch, honestly. And at this point, I'm starting to think that they must be earning something else that isn't money out of this process, because or they think that this is the formula and we will keep at it until it works, even though it's not working. I don't know.
It's I don't understand it. Yeah, there's something going on we don't see, I guess. Yeah.
I'm not sure, because so Netflix were the people who made the online streaming thing big. Of course, they weren't the originators of streaming or media delivery over the internet, but they were the ones who made it big. They were the ones who everyone copies, and people follow their models, directly copy them. But even Netflix is is losing money, so that's something
I think they're on the rebound now, but I think there is this. There are also culture wars going on, I think, and even though the term is charged, I do think that a lot of people conflate. I mean, those that are on the producing end of pop culture, not on the consuming end necessarily of pop culture. I think that the way that they are aggressively trying to mold pop culture rather than go with its flow, and that backfires.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah, of when you going on a top-down approach to generating pop culture.
Yeah,
there are like problems with that because dictate, like you say, like Baines has said, like you've said, dictating to people what they want. It's not going to be what people want.
Yeah, and especially when they. I mean, what are you going to do? Threaten to fire them from what if they don't?
yeah,
It's not really something that you can handle like other corporations do. If we go like, I don't want to go completely leftist on this, but you cannot force someone to watch your stuff or consume your stuff unless you hold on a monopoly, and even then you will never have an absolute monopoly on pop culture, especially with the internet and everything. So if people genuinely don't like your stuff, they are still going to reject you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yes. So what are some of the pop culture stuff that you guys were into that you can't find it anymore? Apart from flares.
oh my god.
Sure, it seems so. Big Baines, you had your like the band from the Muppets, wasn't that your thing for a while? And
I loved them when I was a kid. I didn't really even think of looking for toys or collectibles at the time. I might have had stickers or like school supplies with Muppet logos on them and stuff like that. The action figures that looked good weren't available till many years later, and I saw them. They're overpriced, and so I bought them, and then I didn't really want them anymore.
So yeah, I got these, but now what do I do with them?
Yeah, now what do I do? Yeah,
I've
yeah.
go it.
No, go ahead.
I've like massively into Robotech when I was a little kid. So Robotech was the Americanized version of Macross, which was a series about people in these transforming fighter planes that turn into big mecha robots, which was the style at the time. I freaking loved it. And they also used this the Macross kind of jet, or the Valkyrie. They used that in Transformers as one of the toys in Transformers, the Transformers series, and they called it Jetfire or Skyfire. And there was a toy based on that for Transformers. And I always wanted it back then. Oh my god, I wanted it so bad. And as an adult, I still want it. But to find it, like, people still have like mint versions of this toy that are like, in its packaging and stuff, but they break so easily, yellows, and the stickers fall off and stuff like that. But it costs like hundreds of dollars for a toy. A toy that I wanted as a kid. Oh dear. But I still will probably get it one day.
I wanted some vintage. Like, I was very much into some Greek pulp fiction things that even if I said the name of right now, nobody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, not even like newer generations in Greece don't know of it. Like, we were the last of the generations that were exposed to it. It was already in its waning years when I was growing up, but I loved it. And it was originally the idea I had for Without Moonlight. I wanted to bring back this environment, this um, uh, stories about kids that were so awesome and basically low-key superheroes that stuck it to the Nazis and stuff. And although they were not supposed, they didn't have actual powers, but basically they did things that nobody else could do, like young agents sort of. And yeah, and actually, when I first started to conceptualize Without Moonlight, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and it's going to be like those old pulp fiction stories, like nothing very serious, nothing like all good fun, sort of.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, but then the memorandum happened, and I was not happy anymore. So I said, no, I'm gonna do it realistically this time.
Yeah.
So, and that's how Without Moonlight was born. But I would still like to have. I thankfully, when we had the break-in and the thieves took all my like pulp fiction collections, they apparently were younger than me because they didn't recognize this and they didn't take it. It's the only thing that they didn't take. They probably didn't recognize that this was also a collection that is rare nowadays. So I still have that. I have the collection of the books, but I have the collection of the books as I had them when I was growing up and not their originals that came in very, very thin books of like 20 pages and with original illustrations inside and all of that. I would love that. I can never find it. And if I did, it would be crazy expensive collector's items. So yeah, that's what I'd like.
Yes, and this is the problem with pop culture stuff. It's everywhere when you're a kid, but then becomes incredibly expensive when you're an adult, which will always happen.
Yeah.
It'll probably be worse now for younger generations because if
Probably.
stuff's mainly distributed online, then there's less chance of them, and like streaming services, stuff like that. It'll be even harder to get this stuff. So the stuff that we were into when we were kids, there's a lot more hard copies of that stuff around.
Yeah.
But there'll be less of that in the future.
Yeah.
Although streaming is like, people look at streaming as being, oh my god, now everything's like available online. No, it's even worse than it used to be now, because things used to be broadcast on TV again and again, and you could go to the video shop and get stuff. But now these streaming companies will refuse to stream the stuff or refuse to license it in different places, and also you can't find it anywhere.
And you can never actually buy it. Even when you buy it, it if they stop having it on their server, tough luck. I mean, you do not own hard copies of it. So
yeah. Like I said this ages ago on the Quackcast. I think I tried to buy this movie Vengo, which was a fantastic movie about gypsies in Spain and their massive rivalries with each other. It's just freaking awesome movie. Beautiful music and everything. And it's just not available anywhere. You couldn't, anyway, back then, you couldn't get it streaming anywhere. Couldn't even buy the DVD anywhere. I had to buy some DVD from some weird country somewhere, and luckily they had English subtitle version of it on there, but it's not the English language, like, wasn't released for an English speaking country. It was only released in that country, and that was the only way I was able to get it. And even though this guy was like, he was, he's not, the director is Tony Gatliff, right? A French guy, and he's not like someone who's no one's ever heard of, or he's just like a niche guy. He's a really famous, popular guy, but these movies, because they're like, was only in like Spanish or whatever, it wasn't like widely distributed or massively popular, like say if you wanted Terminator 2 or Titanic or something like that. So it was very hard to get. And so he's done a bunch of other great movies. Swing is another one about gypsies in France, and just can't get it. But I've got on video. That's the only way I could get it. So yeah, it could be if something is not like massively popular in pop culture, it can be incredibly hard to find now more than ever. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, my advice to anyone is if you love something that is, pop culture and it seems massively popular, don't take it for granted.
Yeah,
Go out
buy it now.
support it. Get your own versions of it.
Yeah.
In any way you can. Don't rely on streaming services. Even if you buy a movie through a streaming service, like Tant says, you don't own it. They can get that off your, wipe your account. The company could go out of business and no longer do you have access to your digital version of the thing that you bought.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened. It continues to happen in many different ways. Like I've heard of that happening with so many different shows and stuff. Have you heard about that, Bones?
I'm not specifically, but I know that they can take it all away.
Yeah, definitely. And especially if you've just I subscribed to Amazon Prime originally because they had Lex series, which I loved, and they had Farscape, another series which I loved, and I got them both on DVDs, of course. So, and that was really the only reason I stuck with Amazon Prime, and since then they've wiped them from their list, so you can't actually see them again. So I'm this close to getting rid of Amazon Prime. The only reason I'm still on it is because they got NCIS now.
Right.
Yeah.
They've got ads, so I don't know whether I'll stick with it much longer.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned it, I really regret not buying the entire series of Blackadder when I could. I only have I only have for certain Blackadder Goes Forth, which is my favorite season, the fourth season. Yeah, but I also really like the second and the third one because it's hilarious, and I cannot find it anywhere now. And I was certain, I was pretty sure that I had at least the Blackadder the third, but I can't find it anywhere. And yeah, I don't have it, and I have it, and I don't have it. So.
Bug, yeah, that's what happens. Time and again, just can't find the stuff. You lose access to it, and it's an awesome series. All the Blackadder. I wish they had done more.
Yeah. There is always talk of making one more, but yeah, I sort of wish they did, and also dread it in case it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, well, it's a bit of a lightning in a bottle, really.
Yeah, and for Blackadder, it happened at least 3 times. So
Well, I do like the first series, even though it's completely different to the other ones. And it doesn't have what made it popular.
Yeah,
I've learned to love it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a fondness to the first one just because it was the basis for what came next. But for me, the second season is where the lightning strikes in a bottle.
Can you watch the second without watching the first?
Yes.
Definitely, yeah.
You guys have mentioned this so much. I have to find this and watch it at some point.
You have to. I think you will love it, honestly. All 3 seasons, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Start with the second season.
Yeah, start with the second season.
Yeah,
Go to the third season, see the fourth, and when you recover from the last episode, you can see the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Back in time to where it all began.
Yeah.
Blackadder, Blackadder.
and their jingles, I love all the first, the opening sequences for all are great. Even the first one, the opening sequence.
Nice.
Oh, it's a very intelligent show. I
Yeah.
love it. Ryan Atkinson is excellent.
Excellent.
We've got
Who plays Baldric? What's his name?
Tony Robinson played Baldric.
Yes.
Brilliant. Then there's Stephen Fry playing Melchard in most of the seasons, except for the first one. So, and many other great actors.
And it's British humor at its peak. It is like the best.
Nice.
It's the type of humor I like or hate, but mostly like. I mean, when it is this witty, like it's chef's kiss for me. I love it. So.
Yeah, the two people who are really behind the writing there were the fellow who did 4 Weddings and a Funeral. I can't remember his name.
I don't remember his name either. So.
And Ben Elton, who was famous for The Young Ones and various things, and who actually lived for a long time in my part of the world, down in Perth or Fremantle, not very far.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he lived down here. It is a strange turn of events. So yeah, it's a fantastic series. Okay. Oh, damn it, we've got 3 minutes left. Okay, so I did want to mention like an honorable mention to shows that or to items of pop culture that don't seem to be eaten up and spat out. So we've got the Marvel movies, we got like Batman and Superman and Doctor Who,
Spider-Man,
Star Wars, Spider-Man. We've got all that kind of stuff that though even though they seem to stay popular, they don't really, because these are new versions of this stuff all the time. So the Spider-Man you like now has nothing to do with the Spider-Man that was, people liked in the 80s or the 70s or the 60s.
It has the same formula. I mean,
it does, but like it's different.
Yeah, it is.
Batman. I loved Batman from when I was a child, but the Batman I loved was Adam West.
Oh my god!
That's or in the Super Friends.
Yeah,
and that's very different from Batman now.
Yeah, another IP that I really miss and I'm not ever getting again is MacGyver. Like I would love an updated version where you don't laugh at the medical stuff and you don't laugh at some of the stuff that they got away with. Like fine tune that and repackage it and feed it to me, please.
I don't know. They've since done like updated versions of Hawaii 5-0, Magnum PI.
It wasn't that good.
Knight Rider. I don't know.
I would have liked to see the A-Team come back. I loved the A-Team when I was a kid. But
they did a movie.
I know. I didn't see the movie. I want the original cast, the surviving original cast. Might be too late to do that. They're 70 now, but.
Yes, unfortunately, Hannibal's dead.
Yeah, he passed away quite a long time ago. But I love Dwight Schultz, Murdoch.
I loved him.
Oh, Murdoch, yeah.
The Face
and
Man.
Also Colombo. Like I would like a new guy like Colombo have this approach of the underestimated genius detective like this.
100% love Colombo. Okay, we've got a minute to go.
That is something that endures because we are not pop culture. We are niche. That's why we never die.
There you go.
My God.
Yeah,
you can never die.
It's just about finding those niche things that you like or doing.